Hi everyone, I'm Emma and this is my final paper presentation. I titled it Misrepresentation in the Media. So first starting off with my abstract, so basically what I wrote about was how we're going to examine and discuss the stereotypes surrounding African American men being viewed and profiled as criminals and or dangerous. This includes a literature review, cultural discourse analysis, description, methodology, critical analysis, overall review, and conclusion. It dives into the negativity of this stereotype and how it influences individuals and cultures, as well as what needs to be done to address and fix this damaging stereotype. So next is my introduction. So what I talked about was the misrepresentation of African Americans, especially males, is unfair and unjust and portrays individuals in a way that isn't accurate or fair, leading to poor and untrue stereotypes. And so I addressed the questions that I will talk about. So they are: how often African Americans are misrepresented? Is there a negative impact on individuals portrayed this way? And lastly, what determines the way people and cultures are shown in the media? And I broke this down using scholarly articles, statistics, photographs, and then using principles, theories, and critical analysis. So my mini lit review, I read and utilized 3 scholarly articles. They talked about how African Americans are rated as more violent than any other American racial or ethnic group. However, there is no evidence supporting that they're more likely to become criminals than others, and this is also a stereotype that's been built over decades. This belief, many hold, has resulted in many wrongful deaths of innocent people. Today, a criminal predator is seen as a young black male. The media portrays African Americans as criminals and dangerous, leaving that to become the thought process of many people. And my lit review shows how the media gives the wrong idea by presenting this wrongful image of African Americans, and it goes to show how assumptions can do way more harm than good and how dangerous stereotypes like this can be. So this is my cultural discourse analysis and the 5 basic modes of inquiry. So cultural discourse analysis is a way to examine and or analyze different ways of communication, more specifically regarding and in relation to culture. It pays special attention to the deeper meaning of communication and how important it is in everyday lives. So then I kind of go into the basic modes of inquiry, starting with the theoretical mode, which occurs before the study begins and is when the analyst forms a theory to guide the said inquiry. Then descriptive gives the details of what actually occurred. Interpretive is when the analyst interprets the data, where they're finding significance or importance of the communication. Then there's comparative, where the analyst compares how the communication is similar or different to others. And then critical examines the ethics in a communication practice. So still in the paragraph in section of the paper is the 5 gradients and 4 functions of stereotypes and stereotyping. So first off, the 5 gradients, they're being, relating, acting, feeling, and dwelling. And then these stereotypes and stereotyping are individual, collective, epistemic, and esteem related. And I have the information about those on there, just quick definitions of those. So now my methodology, by conducting more research, I found more resources on African Americans and how they're depicted in the media. I also researched the differences of how Caucasians are represented for similar offenses. It also has some statistics. I explicated my analysis using interpretation, using the interpretive mode, and I also used the descriptive mode. The descriptive mode was used for the statistics, while the interpretive was used to draw inferences based on that information. And then I checked the reliability and validity of my analysis by knowing that they were reliable sources. So now for my description, the media portrayal of African Americans paints them as dangerous criminals and delinquents, etc. They are also more often exposed in the media than white men for the same acts of violence. Like, for example, you can see the statistics and the images in the bottom left. There are hundreds of innocent black men and women that have been wrongfully persecuted because of the color of their skin. And so, as I said, the diagram shows how Caucasian males will be represented differently than African American males. The white men have nice pictures of them provided, seeming to look professional or that they're enrolled in school, where on the other hand, the African American images look like all of their mugshots. And this isn't the first instance, this is really common. I have another example for my description. So this is a great depiction of how race, class, and authority can influence how the media portrays people. White men are often let off easy, especially those in power or celebrities, as you can see. It's very clear at the inconsistent depictions based on race. And as you can see, like even here, they're characterized as thugs and criminals. So the personhood analysis of the stereotype. So it kind of goes as follows, that the interpretive mode is drawn from being this, that they are viewed as bad people, thugs, dangerous, reckless. The descriptive mode is the specific group, in this case being the men. The interpretive mode of relating would be that they are more likely to be criminals over Caucasian men. The descriptive mode would be the depictions of them as dangerous criminals. The interpretive mode of this is that African American men are a threat to them. And for the radiant of feeling, the descriptive mode is that they are a threat to their personal safety and communities. And the radiant of dwelling under the interpretive mode is that they are less fortunate and hazardous to society. A little bit continued, I talked about the individual stereotypes, how they can be applied, the collective function, and the epistemic function. Basically how with the individual stereotypes it can be to prove in someone's thoughts, and then the collective function is something that's accepted through the nation, and this isn't fair, but it sets a precedent. And then the epistemic function, the media displaying them in a negative light, is a way to place blame on an entire group, and it's easier to pick on this minority than the majority. So my critical analysis, in the U.S., many Caucasians benefit from these stereotypes, and they're often let off easier than African Americans. The media also benefits from this in a variety of ways, and honestly, everyday people benefit from this stereotype because it can confirm and justify their thoughts and beliefs on a certain group. So now my so what in application is that relating with empathy to these people and put yourself in their shoes and draw a situation on how you can use emotion to make change. Also, taking actions to make a change. Without action, there will not be any change. Only saying so will do so much. So like boycotting certain media outlets and really fighting for equality. And from here on out, I would wish to see more positive representation of African Americans posted and displayed in the media, and things to be equal. Again, for example, every post about an African American criminal, there should be one for a white criminal. So my conclusion, as we know, most stereotypes never serve any real function. They're only to confirm or deny thoughts and beliefs. Even if they don't affect us personally, we can't turn a blind eye. We need to be aware that these affect real people who are equal to us. In general, they just are because we're all different races, class, gender, ethnicity, etc. from other individuals. It doesn't make one person better than the other. This stereotype that black men are harmful and always up to no good is very damaging. This is something I think needs to be changed and not accepted any longer in the media. The statistics are there about how false these things are, yet they're still out there to make certain people feel better about themselves, and that needs to come to an end. And then I have my works cited page, and yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening and watching.